So, welcome to 3 on Thursdays. If you are new here, my name is Michelle, and I am Crafters Northwest. Let me switch something on my screens so that I can actually see when people are commenting. No, I just... There we go. Okay, my apologies. So, we have some really cute cards today for you, and they were so much fun to do. But before all that, I wanted to go over some of the specials that we have going on right now. And, yeah, before we get started, I'm a little bit flustered because I was so prepared for most everything, and at the last minute there were some things that just didn't get done, and so I was rushing. So, this is the last month to sign up for the extra rewards for VIP program. And what that is, VIP program is normally you sign up for $35 for a year. You sign up, it is $35 for a year. Of that $35, you get $15 back as a credit. So you want to do that before you place your order. You'll have $15 that you can use against your order instantly, or you can bank that, your choice. Through the end of January, when you sign up, or if your renewal falls in January, you'll get an extra $25 in your account. Of course, Otis is going to be a jerk and yell. He has fresh food, fresh water, all the things. He just is being a crabby baby. Anyway, you will get extra in your account this month, and this is last month to do that. So now is the perfect time to do that. So that is the VIP. And with every order, you'll earn 15% on your order towards your bank. So you won't be able to spend it on that same order. Much like Walgreens and Kohl's, right? You shop, you earn cash or points or whatnot that you have available for your next purchase. You can save them with our program and spend them all at one time, or you can use them each time you shop. Alright, next. This is the January stamp of the month, and it has thin cuts, which is fantastic. Actually, I have it right here. Right, so it has these thin cuts, which are showed in blue here. So we have kind of a torn paper, we have an arrow, a banner, a scalloped circle, and a loopy arrow. Okay, so so you can get just the stamp set for $19.95. You can get the stamp set and the thin cuts for $29.95. Okay. If you are not a VIP, if you are just shopping, if you have a $50 order, you can get the stamp by itself for $5, or you can get the stamp and thin cuts for $14.95. Okay, pretty good deal. If you are a VIP, this is one of those extra bonuses. If you get just the stamp set, you'll get it for free. If you want the stamp and the thin cuts, it's only $9.95. So that is a fantastic deal, because these are so cute, and I can see so many different things even with just these without this. And we're gonna kind of play to that a little bit today. So, but I have lots more ideas coming. So that is the stamp of the month. It is only available in January until the 31st, and yeah, there will be lots of cute things out there online. So that will be fun. All right, next up, Bring Back My Pack, Skylark. So this did come back in December. I did not end up using it. I was doing all sorts of other things, and so we're using it today, a whole lot today. But as you can see, I kind of created this so that you could see all the things. There is the paper pack with the sticker sheet or without. There's the coordinating cardstock. There is a stencil that's flowers and leaves and such. So it's all one stencil. So if you wanted the leaves to be different colors than the flowers, you need to do some selective masking and such. There are 2 different stamp sets. One has a different spelling on it. I believe it's Favorite. So I do have the stamp set, but I do not have it handy or immediately grabbable. So Favorite in one of them is spelled with a U. The what is it called? The British spelling? I don't know. And then you have a variety of different bundles that you can get for a variety of different prices. With or without the stamp set, with or without the stencil, adding embellishments or card bases and envelopes, or more cardstock to create scrapbook pages and such. So this is available until the end of January, or until it runs out. And I would like to point out, if you are looking at the shopping site here, just a little bit down the page, I know this is printed, but when you're looking at the screen, you'll see Bring Back My Pack, Skylark Workshop Guide. So if you click that, it's a free PDF for the workshop guide to create scrapbook pages, and I believe some cards as well, based on the picture up here. So, free resource. Even if you are not going to use this paperback, there is a great way for you to build up your sketch resources. Love Notes is a new special, started January 1st. And you can see there's a scrapbooking and a card making workshop available. Some super cute paper, some puffy stickers. The stamp and thin cut includes an envelope die, and I believe it's 4 3x4 envelope, but I did not pull that up beforehand, so I'm not absolutely certain. And then, like before, you have a variety of different bundles with or without stamp sets, embellishments, and so on and so forth. All right, and then the last thing I'm going to talk about before we start all of our fun stuff is the March album retreat. So this is a virtual event. It is put on by Coast My Heart, and you will create, where's my sticker? You will create 11 2-page layouts. These are full 12 by 12 pages. That is some of what you're seeing here. You will get 2 exclusive retreat stamp sets. That means that's the only way you can get them is via the retreat, the album retreat. One of them is a D size, one of them is an E size. You'll get the pattern papers and embellishments. You will also get embossing folders, thin cuts, memory protectors. Obviously it is a scrapbooking, it's for albums, and photo placeholders. So you do not have to use the placeholders if you bring your photos or have them readily available. But this is what the pages are that you will be making at that album retreat. So that is super fun. The pages are adorable. So, all right. So with that, let's get started, shall we? supplies will be listed on my blog post. It is set to go live this evening at 7 o'clock, and it has photos. It does not have sizes, so I will need to add that to it, but everything else is on there already. So let's look at card 1. And we are going to remove the cat hair first. So we're going to kind of play a guessing game. And I'm going to try to remember to look at chat. So even if no one is guessing, I am going to play it as if someone is guessing. So that way, if you are watching it later, you can guess along with the video and see if you're right. So this has 2 different stamp sets, and your adventure is to see if you can guess what the stamps are. I will show them at the end of making the card, so that you can see what ones they are, so you can find out if you're right. I'm going to, of course, put your answers in the chat too, so that we can see. But this is our card. I have many of these things I have pre-stamped already, just to kind of save time on the video, but not everything is done. So we have, of course, our slimline card base and envelope all ready to go. Move this up over here. I do have some various clouds cut out, and these are just cut out from scraps. And I do have this larger one, and I just wanted to show you that this was one of my scraps that I had, and so that is as long as that die is, and it is the Fancy Borders. I do have 2 sets in here. So it is the Fancy Borders, kind of the cloud looking one that I am using. And so you can see I just put that down there. I made sure it came off of this end and ran it through the machine. And I just left it like this so that you guys could see it and kind of see how I do that process. All right. We have a piece that is 3 1/4 by 8 1/4 for the inside. We have, this piece is also 3 1/4, by 8 1/4 for the front. This piece is 3/8, as you can see, by 12. That will go on the inside. Obviously, it will be cut down. I have the plain stamped and then cut again. We're going to glue them together to give it a little bit more stability. And we have 2 banners from one of those stamp sets. So let's do our stamping first so that can dry. I have different cards that have different things that need to happen first, so I needed to make sure that my brain was on the right card first. Alright, so I'm just going to bring in this stamping mat. I'm going to grab a scrap piece of cardstock down here. So we are going to use some charcoal ink, and I do have the plain already mounted up, and we are going to do 2nd generation. So we are just going to, I don't have my space marked off like I normally do, so you'll see me look off to the side because that's where my monitors are, so I can make sure that I'm on screen for you guys. Alright, so we're going to stamp off and then stamp on the corner of the envelope. Okay, and that's all the plain stamping we're doing. Grab out the rest rest of these things here. All right, and then we are going to grab our Archival black ink. Alright, so we're going to move this out of the way. And we do not need that anymore. So we have our 2 stamps. We have Adventures and then Looking Forward To. And we're going to stamp those on our banner pieces. Now the banners, let's see, you can kind of see that. So this banner is going the wrong way. So make sure that you have it going the right way before you start stamping. Because that will be important. I do actually like to make sure that my stamp is decently primed. When it dries from being cleaned or from just sitting in air drying, sometimes the ink doesn't take perfectly well the first time, and so you will want to ink it up and stamp it to make sure that it's all in there. So that is not a very good explanation. I apologize. Alright, so this stamp is actually a straight stamp on the stamp set, and I just curved it so it fit on our banner. Okay, and believe it or not, that's it. We are done with that. That is all the stamping. Alright, so we are going to need our scissors. I do like to use my liquid glass when I am putting together 2 pieces to make them thicker. And sorry, that's probably really loud and squeaky. Excuse me. And I forgot to check earlier to make sure that my microphone was working. It was not working very well a few weeks ago. Hello, Rhonda. Rhonda says she has one but not the other. Rhonda, which one do you have? Okay, so let's going to use my tape runner on here, but it is slightly too wide. So this is the inside piece. I'm just going to bring this all the way down to the bottom. I do advocate for you to burnish anything that you are using liquid glue with. Just because it makes things nicer. So Rhonda says she has the stamp of the month. Do you recall seeing the plane, Rhonda? Actually, I have to say yes, you have to have seen it because you participated in our 100 days. And I know I used it then. So you may not remember it, but you've seen it before. Okay, so this piece I could have made smaller. But that's okay. I wanted to make sure that there wasn't going to be any not coverage, any missed coverage on the top and the bottom when we are doing the clouds. So let's move those out of the way. So we are going to be using some thin foam for the clouds, for some of the clouds today. And so what we're going to do is we are going to lay this out first. So my big piece ideally is going to go here at the top, in this top corner. Okay, and how much you want your plane to come out of the clouds will depend on how you lay down your clouds. So I might do it a little bit skinnier this time just so that it can be coming out a little bit more. But that is totally up to you guys. So you're gonna have to do some at angles, just so that, all right, let's cut this off. So that you have things come down off of the edge, right? Because I don't want this to be like this and have this ugly bit here, right? We want it to be pretty. So we'll tilt that, and when we do that, we'll make sure that this end is also covered. So this should go like this. Okay, so now one of the things that you can do is you can take some washi that's sticky but not very sticky, and place it down. This one I don't need to because this one's just 100% going on the bottom here. But then we can flip this over and we can take our pencil and kind of trace along on all of our pieces, because then we can trim off some of this excess. Now this is up to you. When I made my first sample, I put down that first layer and then I trimmed it, and then I did this to the second layer because we're popping it up. So it really is personal preference on how you do this first part. Well, I guess this isn't the first part, but all right, so that is going to be popped up. And then this one, yep, this one is popped up. So I'm going to keep these separate. And then these two, well, this one's going on directly, no cuts or anything. Maybe get all the way into the corner. with your adhesive might be, you know, kind of a novel idea. And I am going all the way to the card edge. Okay. And so this, if you would like, you can use your paper trimmer. And then you don't have to worry about if you get straight cuts or jagged cuts, because you won't, because you'll have used a paper trimmer. Okay, so this one is going, okay, so I do want to, right, because that one's being popped up, okay. Just wanted to, I think I'm going to, just to be safe, just cut off that little jaggedy end. And then this one as well. Just straight on there. Okay. Now, let me trim this one down. So because we've trimmed these, you don't really have to worry about where your foam tape is going to go, because everything is already on your card, right? So if you had not done the lining, then you're going to want to have to be careful about where you put your foam tape. But like I said, since see in this one, that's why, because I didn't trim it yet. See, my brain automatically went here because we trimmed it, except that we didn't trim this one, and so, you know, it's got to go like this. So let's actually trim this one. So before you add your foam pieces on, you might want to flip your card over, make sure you don't have anything hanging over. And then let's add some of this on here. And because these are edge pieces, I don't want to leave giant gaps. I actually want to leave fairly small gaps. Just to make sure everything holds up the way I want it to. I think the longest part of this whole card is doing the die cutting, and even that's not very long. It just, you know, it's part of the process. So I could see for this card You could stamp inside a with you sentiment. So looking forward to adventures with you. Right, that would be a super sweet Valentine's card, I think. Okay. I'll pull it back again. Alright, let's add these on. A little garbage bucket. Make sure I'm attaching it in the right spot. And I do want to make sure that the clouds do overlap and that you can kind of see it a little bit in the back. I didn't actually point that part out. I think it just adds nice visual depth to it. It just makes it look nicer, I think. Alright, so that's super fun. But like you can see, like I could have gotten away with a smaller bit, but I would be afraid of making it just slightly too small and having a white little triangle peek through the clouds, which I don't want that. All right, so we are going to have our plane kind of peek through like that, and I have just some black embossing thread, not embossing, embroidery thread. And I'm just going to take a glue dot. These are the tiny ones. That one fits perfectly right there. I'm just going to I want this pinched a little bit. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to cover that with a foam, and then I'm just going to make a single line of foam up the center of the plane so that it fits right between our clouds. Okay, and then we need our glue dots here on our banner. So I'm not going to put it all the way in the corner because we want them to line up there, but just in case it doesn't line up perfectly, I'm going to move it down just a little bit. And I changed the camera so that it doesn't like focus up and down and up and down. So in case you can't see, I do have it right here is my glue dot. And then I'm going to put another one just kind of straight down from there-ish. Doesn't have to be perfect. Right, so we have 2 glue dots, and we are going to put our plane here. Let's see if we add a little bit of weight to it, if we can get that to stay there while we do the rest of this. Okay. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to add some more foam tape, but we need to kind of figure out where that's going to be so that we can get that kind of lined up. So one there. And then one down here at the other end. And then I'm not going to do any more because it will pop up kind of on top of the clouds. But we do need to corral these strings. So we can cut them off, but I'm afraid they might come unraveled and pull out. So we are going to grab our piercing tool and our glue dots again. And then if you have chunky fingers like mine, you can use some tweezers. Right, and that should stay hidden, yes. And then let's add one more. Kind of with that same process. Bring this string around so it's next to our foam tape. And then maybe trim off that little bit of excess. Maybe. Okay, now we can take off our backings here. Rhonda says putting on the foam backing is the longest. Maybe. Could be. And then a little bit of liquid glue so that we can give a little squidge if we need to get it moved into the right spot. You know, sometimes I use a word and I don't even think about it. And then I wonder, like, is Pauline watching me and giggling because I said something that I really shouldn't have said? I'm sure I have in the past. I couldn't say what. because I wouldn't know, not because I couldn't see. But I'm sure it's happened. All right, this one I'm tipping it so that I can see. Because I do want to get that corner kind of lined up. And voila. Card 1 is done. Right? Super cute. Super cute. I forgot where I was looking there for a second. Easy peasy. Like I said, the longest part is going to be the, let's just do this for now. The cloud die cutting or the foam adding, that too. Alright, so next, before I move on, let me bring this back in. Because I did tell you that I would show you what the stamp sets were. So we have of course, the stamp of the month, the January stamp of the month. So we did that for the sentiments. Looking forward to adventures. This one doesn't say with you, otherwise I would have added that inside. I do probably have a stamp set that says that somewhere. So that is that stamp set. And then Dreams Take Flight. So this is our airplane. I could have used these clouds, but I thought it would have taken too many, and they weren't quite as billowy and nice looking. Not that these are bad looking clouds, they're just, they weren't the look I was going for. So, card number 1 done. Number 2. Is this one here. So Dakota says this one was his favorite out of this week's cards. He thought it looked very fancy. So pretty simple on the inside. The outside is pretty simple too, and it's fairly quick. The longest part on this one is the coloring, but even that is not going to take very long because there's no shading. It's just straight coloring. So let's see what we got here. All right, so we have our 5x7 card base and envelope. We have a 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 white daisy, the same of this pattern paper. So this is the Skylar paper, as was the paper from the last one. We have a 3/8 inch strip for the inside. We have, goodness, a limeade and a white daisy of the oval thin cuts already pre-cut. We have the inside of the white daisy oval thin cut. We have congrats stamped in archival black and a second one for thickness. And then we have the something. I don't know what this is called. I knew before I started talking. There's a word for this. Plus a mask. And I don't remember what the word is. But, yeah. So, let's do the stamping that we need to do first, obviously, because we need to color. We are using the shaker window foam and acetate for the oval. I'm not using the acetate, or let me rephrase that. I did not on the first one. I might on this one just to see just to see. This is that oval frame thin cuts. I'm going to do the same this time. I'm going to show you the stamps at the end. I am using my Mini Misty. So I do have the house already set up in here. And yeah, so I'm going to set this here. I did stamp this already, so I might color on this one because it's already dry. I stamped that yesterday. But I will stamp one and show you how I did it, and then I'll color on the other one. Alright, so a jig, that's what it's called. It's called a jig. So I do have just a spot of glue in there, and I'm putting this oval kind of centered on here. But I started this just because I needed a scrap so that I could stamp off and not get things dirty everywhere. And so that's how it started off, and then it just kind of continued from there. So I'm going to grab this. I am going to use Intense Black ink. And like before, I am going to ink it up and stamp and make sure that it is stamping well, especially with Intense Black ink. It does need to be re-inked more than any other ink that we have. The bonus with having the jig that you've already stamped on is you can see where you've already stamped, and so you can just keep lining things up, especially if you're making multiples in that same style. Try this just a little bit so I can put my mask on it without it smearing. Actually, while we're waiting for that, let's stamp our envelope so we can let that dry just a little bit more. Same stamp. You could use like the edge of the house if you'd like. And I put my tree off the edge of the envelope as well. I think it makes it look a little bit nicer and less crowded. Okay. Alright, so we are going to put our jig in here, and you can see these are the colors that I tested when I was trying to figure out what colors to use. I do that every time. Even if I had a swatch page, I would still do this, just because this will be on my page and next to the other colors. I almost messed up. Gotta put the mask on here. I am so glad I caught that. Hopefully I didn't give you guys a heart attack. All right. Let's try that again. I find that it's easier to press with my wrist than it is with my hand when I have long sleeves on. So, you know, for whatever that's worth. The bonus of the Misty is that you can stamp again instantly and you don't have to worry about lining things up. So, take off the mask. And you have your nice clean house and tree. So I'm going to take this one off so that I can color on this one. Okay, so these are, with the exception of this one, these are all available on the website to purchase if you do not have them. We have had them for a while. That doesn't mean you have them, but that's okay. Yellow Gold Blend, True Blue Shades, Red Brown Blend, and Dull Green Blend. We do not carry the ice gray shades, but I needed a dark gray. So I am doing the middle yellow color. The coloring really does go by pretty quickly. Mostly because most of it is straight lines. And it's handy that you can just go just right off. You don't have to worry about the step or anything. Which you would have to if we had colored the whole thing. Okay, yellow done. Green. Yeah, went with the dark end. And because we're not doing any shading, we're just block coloring. Kind of how you do it is up to your own personal preference. And of course you can do the house whatever color you would like. If you are going to use markers and you are going to use a light color on the house, like I did this yellow, or even some of the lighter other colors here at the top, I would recommend doing that first so you don't inadvertently pull in any of the darker colors that might surround it. Did the tires super dark, so that is the dark, and then I did the roof, the middle, have done other cards with this stamp set. In fact, I have one right here. Where I colored each of these little slates individually. And it looks fantastic. That much I will say. It does also take a very long time. Okay, maybe not very long time. But longer than you probably want to watch in a video. And then I did the chimney. In light. And then I did the trim. In this dark. I did look up yellow houses to see. And most of the time, the trim was white and the door was white. And I thought, that looks nice, but it also makes my card look undone. So I had to come up with something else. So dark gray it was. And there were some houses that did have dark gray. Trying to be very light with my tip so that that ink doesn't spread and go places I really don't want it to. we did middle blue for the door. I think we're going to go dark on our tree trunk. I don't remember if I did dark or not, but that's what we're doing. And last but not least, come back in and enhance that doorknob. And we are all colored. Let's glue together our two pieces. Burnish. Super simple. Use the Tombow glue because that once tacky, that will hold our clear piece. Alright, so new thing that I discovered, I shared a few weeks ago on the acetate pieces, if you use your fingernails, one side is super smooth, and the other side your fingernail will catch on it. So that is the side that has your clear backing on it. So you want to tear that off. You're not tearing it. Alright, and then just lay that down. When you burnish, you don't want to go all the way across like that because you don't want to scratch the inside. Okay, so we're going to let that dry for a few moments, and let's put some of the rest of this together. So on this piece, I did come up just a little bit because we don't have the same writing space limitations on this one. You could do that side, right? You're going to cover up that, but I didn't give the same effect of what I was looking for in this. I almost want to grab that black string out that we used on that first card, and use it on here and have it hang like a old style frame on a wall. I think that would be super cute. Okay. So I'm hoping this is going to stay put like it should. If not, we can come back with glue dots. Alright, so we're just going to put them in. You know what? Since we're putting this on here anyway, what shaker bits do I have? I don't want red and green. Right, I have all of these shaker bits. And buttons. How about we do some blue beads? And do some off-white beads. So ideally, I would have done that a slightly different way, but that's okay. Oh, nope, close this. So now this fits in here perfectly, like that, right? So what we need to do is not have done that in the first place. Oh goodness, there we go. So we need to glue this down so it is centered, and then we can put our dots on top of it. Centered enough for me. Alright, so I'm going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of each of these. Flatten out our beads a little bit. We don't want them poking up our stuff. Just peel off that backing and then lay this down. Shaker card. Okay. So I know I haven't asked, but what are your thoughts on the stamps for this one? There's probably more than you think. Just as a little hint. We're just going to put these across. Oh, I need to take that one off because there's not that hole there anymore for that to go into. Because this is our last step, and then we are done with this card. Voila! We got a bonus little shaker card out of it. So, that is card number 2. Alright. So, Rhonda says she doesn't think she has any of these stamp sets. So, I wonder if she did have them at some point. So, what do we have? we have, let's do them in the order that we used them. So first up we have our tree from Memory Lane. So this was the special in July of last year. I do believe that is the newest stamp set on this card, right? So there is that one. And then we have our house. So this is Home Sweet Home. And it is a Stampin' Thin Cuts, and this is January, February of 21. And I store my extra thin cuts in the package, so they're all falling out because they're not in the package. And this one is actually from that same book, Howdy Neighbor, for our congrats. So all of these stamps are currently still available on the website. So if you fall in love with one and you want it, I try to make sure that you guys can still get them. Because it's no fun to watch something and think it's really cool and fun, and then go to try to get the stuff you need to make it, and you can't anymore because it's gone. That's never any fun. Alright, last card. Alright, I have not done one of these in a while. And we have a coffee card because coffee is good, right? So we have a fun technique on here for this, and I think it turned out so cute. So what do we have? We have things trying to cause problems. Alright, so we have, of course, our card and envelope. So this is the value card and envelopes. We have 2 pieces of White Daisy. One is slightly smaller than, but they both are 4 by 5 1/4. The one that is smaller would still be that size. However, I was using scraps of my craft paper, and it was slightly shorter than 4 1/4 or 5 1/4. So I just trimmed my white down to whatever these were. So ideally 5 1/4, but if not, a little bit shorter works too. So I have 2 pieces that are 2 by 5 1/4 essentially. I have a piece big enough for my envelope flap, and then I have other pieces. All right, this one is 2.5 by 3.5. This is 3/8 by 4 for the inside. This is a scrap 1 1/4 by 2.5, but it doesn't have to be that long because we're tucking it underneath the coffee cup. This is just a scrap that we're going to use this fun cluster that's pre-printed on the bottom for our coffee cup. So we have a coffee cup. Why do I have only 1 coffee cup? I should have 2. 1 is fine. I do have 2 lids because I wanted to make sure that my coffee cup lid was taller than the coffee cup sides, since I'm paper piecing anyway, because that's how coffee cups work. Anyway, okay, so that is what we're doing. So you could do this with any coffee stamps that you have. So Rhonda, use whatever you got. We are using the brown gray blend marker, just a tiny smidge. You don't have to do this. You can use a gray colored pencil. You can just not do this. I do have a black Le Pen, and I will show you why. Blending brush. All of the stamps that we need to use are pre-mounted, and then we will be using the Slimline stitched card front and background for our card. And then we will do the stamps at the end like we have been doing. I just threw my Post-its on the floor. All right, so let's do our stamping first, and then we can do the rest. All right. So we definitely need our this. Yeah, I know. Great speaking there, Michelle. All right, so we need. Okay, what my plan is to use one of these words for the coffee cozy, and then come back in and use the green for the cup itself. So for that, we're going to grab a new pad of, actually these ones will work better, a new pad of Post-its so that we can protect things. Okay, so I'm going to actually probably could have used it the larger one. That's okay. So I know that I should use the intense black. Actually, I'm not coloring on these, so this is fine. This is fine. I do not need to ink up the whole stamp just yet. I just need to ink up the coffee cozy. Okay, so I know you can't see it really, and I could hold it up, but you can't really see. It'll be blurry, but you can see that the corner here didn't stamp all the way because I was up on that Post-it note. That's where that black Le Pen will come into play. All right, so let's come back in here with our Post-its. And then we are going to we're going to make sure that we can get both of these on here. I don't want to cut into the larger piece for these smaller pieces. Okay, so if nothing else, that is now safe. And I have plenty of room. Plenty of room. I was just worried. So it looks terrible, but there we have that piece. Now we need our Hey Friend. Oh, and I didn't even show you the best part. Alright, Hey Friend. I'm going to leave enough for a shallow banner cut. Let me show you. Look, I forgot. You are wonderful. Isn't that great? Alright, so we need that white daisy piece. That is the correct size. So we can stamp the inside. Alright, let's see if we can do straight. Let's try that again. Okay. That's a little better. I think this played into what I was talking to you earlier. About the ink drying up on the stamps and not giving a great impression. Much better. Alright. Rhonda has Hey Friend. And you're halfway, no, you're 1/3 of the way there making this card. Nope, that is not all the stamping, but that's okay. Put this aside, it's all the stamping we can do right now. Okay. Move some things out of the way because we need to work with these 3 pieces. Alright, we need our plate and our thin cut. So we are going to put it together backwards, right? So we're going to take our 2 smaller pieces and we are going to lay them approximately half on, half off. The most important thing is that they are straight and that they do not go past the short ends. Okay. Put on this guy. Try to make sure they don't move while you're moving everything. They like to do that. Okay. So Static says they will be attached to your cutting plate. So we're going to take those ones off, and then we're going to put these ones on. I'm going to put them completely in the plate itself, like that. Straight or not doesn't matter because they're not going to be cut by the outside edges. have done this part ahead of time, but then that would not have showed you guys how to do this fun technique. Flip off to the side a little bit. Okay. So while it sounds backwards, we are going to, well, it won't sound quite backwards, but when you get to the next step, it might. We are going to glue this on, which I know in the past I've said to do this so that it can dry. Bring in my handy tool. This is the glue from my sample. It just peels right off. Handy little silicone brush. Or squeegee or whatever you want to call it. Okay. So now we are actually going to move things out of the way. So that we can bring our craft mat in. So that we don't make a mess on our desk. I know, too late, but alright. So we are going to use toffee ink. We're going to do each of these pieces. I'm going to try and stay up in this corner so that when we do the envelope, I have a large clean area so I don't have to worry about it getting dirty. So just doing a quick go around on all four sides. And different spots will have different amount of ink, and that's okay. Okay, so before we continue, we need to trim this so that we can then do the distressing on it as well. Cutting this straight first so I can use that for something else. So we are going to fold this. So I'm not coming, most of my ink is here and that way. So I'm not going to move much further than that. So I'm just going to come up and do that maybe a little bit more. Just to be safe on these edges over here. And I'm moving this way each time with my envelope so I don't move it into the ink. We are done our ink blending. We have to fold that up better later. Okay, so our envelope is done. We'll bring our card back in. And our pieces. I'm just going to do a super shallow banner cut. And then right, so this one is for the top, this one is for the bottom, and this one is for the band. So these are pretty easy and straightforward to do. I'm cutting on the outside. Of the black line. When I am paper piecing, that's what I do. I cut on the line, but on the outside edge of it. And then I'm actually going to leave this little piece there. It helps make everything seem seamless later. So you'll see that I do have one of those lids already cut. And as I was saying earlier, that was so that the lid will pop up. And so on that one, I cut kind of more in the center or the inside of the line. I was far less careful cutting that one out because it's going to be 100% hidden. It's not going to be seen at all. Where this one, actually, before I continue, I need to color. Alright, I'm just going to do quick swipes. I'm following the shape of it, right? They're not straight, they're curved. And I try to do that before I do any cutting because it makes it easier to hold on to while you do your coloring. It makes everything easier. And that was not the pair of scissors I meant to grab. Okay. Now it's glue time. So again, I like to use the liquid glass when I'm doing paper piecing, or why is that so off? Okay, so I'm going to bring in my Le Pen, and I should have cut this a little bit better. I'm just going to make this mark here to complete that line, just in case this one is cut a little bit too close. And then the other thing I did, because remember the corners didn't stamp, and so I'm just actually going to come in on this layer and color in the corners. And then there's no worries. But I do need to, real quick, stamp my face on here. So there are a few different little faces in this set, and they are so cute. And I just haven't used them because they are individual pieces, and that smile is not straight at all. What the heck happened here? But they're individual pieces, and so there's two open eyes like this, and there's an open eye and a wink eye, and there's alligator eyes, you know, the greater than, less than type symbols. So they're super cute. I just have been afraid to inadvertently screw something up because they, you know, maybe weren't straight when I put them on. Okay. I should probably have cut this a little bit. Because it overlaps a good deal. much better. I know, it doesn't look like it, but we are covering it up. When you do paper piecing like this, you want to make sure to get all the way up into the corners. So that your corners don't inadvertently pop up. Last little bit for our coffee cup. So cute. There was a white dot there. It was bothering me. I couldn't take it anymore. Okay. So, what do we have left? So let's do a little bit of attaching. So the inside of the original card, I had the green showing, and this one, I'm going to do the brown grid, just because it's adorable. Inside of our card is done. The outside, we are going to use the stub side. Now we do not sell these. We don't. I wish we did. But I do like them. So, if you don't have a stub punch but you wanted to get this look, you could use a circle punch. You could use a 1/2 inch or 3/8, and then just punch on the corners. Okay. Now, oh, you know what? We were not done with that. We need to do this piece too. Bring in just a corner of this. So I am doing the edge of this, only the edge, because the planks may not quite line up, and this will kind of hide that a little bit. I do not mind that there's going to be white showing through on the center between the planks, because they are supposed to be glued to the card front, so it would make sense for that to be seen. And so That's why I'm only doing the edges. Yes, I could have just done another piece of craft cardstock underneath, but I chose not to. So you're going to take your bone folder or your scissors or your Cricut mat scraper or a fork or your scissors or anything hard, and you're just going to kind of pound on the edges and then scrape it a little bit. Because we are distressing these. I did not want the sharp edge scissor distressing on them. I just wanted it to be kind of beat up looking. I'm not crumpling them. I do not want them to look like crumpled paper, so to speak, although that's kind of what it looks like. I'm trying to go with like a driftwood look. I don't know why I decided to do this. I like the way it looks. And it adds some fun texture to the card. And no, I'm not doing it to the envelope because I do not need any reason for my stuff to not get where it's going to. Okay, so we're going to line these up just so we can see, make sure we like how everything looks together. Make sure we don't have two knots next to each other. And then we're just going to run one single line of glue down the center. Just the center, because we don't want to glue down all of that distressing that we just did. That would be silly. So these should fit across your page perfectly. Right, and I don't know that you can see that way, but if you look this way, you can see the white. If you look this way, you can probably see the white. I didn't want it showing on the edges themselves. All right, and you can see, right, this is what I was trying to avoid on the envelope, which we succeeded at doing, so yay us. And then this is just going to go into the center of our card. And then if you feel the need, you can go through and kind of make sure you don't pull too hard. Okay. So we are distressed again. We're going to take our stubbed square, and we're actually going to use some glue dots. We're doing this again because of the distressing. We don't want to lose all of that pop that we just did. So I'm doing 5. 1 in each corner, and then 1 in the center. And then just center that. All right, now we are going to grab our thin foam tape. I know, I'm using this a ton today. And we're going to do this just at our banner ends. And then we are going to grab our regular foam tape for our coffee cup. Well, I guess regular, since it's not foam tape, it's foam squares from our window acetate sheets. All right, so we're going to peel that off and add a line of just tape runner. And then, last but not least, our coffee cup. All right. So how many stamp sets do we have for this card? Voila. Let's move these out of the way so they don't inadvertently get onto our cards. All right, so card number 3. We have, oh goodness, a lot of boys. That's what we have. So we have Hey Friend. So this is the stamp set that we used for Wonderful and Hey Friend. Super cute. And then we have Desserts a la Whirl for our coffee cup and our faces. So if I turn this back over here, you can see we have our open eye smiley face that we used. We have our alligator eyes, that's a laughing face. And then we have a winky face down here. And they all 3 have different smile shapes, but each of the eyes are individual. So those are the stamp sets for tonight. So super cute cards. All right, so let me bring these back in and kind of figure out where everything can lay here. So those are our cards for today. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. Whether you're here on the live or watching replay, I really do appreciate it. I hope that these have inspired you to be crafty today, and I would love to see anything that you make because of it. So please do let me know when you make something, and if you found this video fun or handy or anything like that, I would love it if you shared it with your crafty friends. And giving me a thumbs up is always fantastic. So thank you so much. If you have any questions about any of the products or anything like that, I would love to help you with that. And thank you, Rhonda, for Happy New Year, for saying for the compliments, and Happy New Year to you and everyone else as well. See you guys next week. Bye.